Good morning, Stream Academy. It is Wednesday, September 9th. We are in our fourth week of school already, so we're coming up on pretty shortly next week, coming up on the midway point of first quarter, if you can believe it. Miss Yip's with us. Good morning, Miss Yip. Welcome back from your excursions. I hope you have lots of salmon loaded in the freezer. That's awesome. Morning coffee today. We have what is on our agenda? Well, first, I should tell you that Anchorage Stream Academy empowers students to be involved learners, critical thinkers, and engaged citizens who are inspired by the natural world. That is our mission. That's how we like to start our meetings. We have a fun and informative lineup on morning coffee this morning. We have an APC meeting tonight. So our APC meets once a month and on Wednesday, the second Wednesday of the month, if the calendar allows for it. And so we meet tonight at 5:30. So all of you here are invited to join us again at 5:30 for that. And we'll talk a little bit about APC today. We have our weekly cohort visit. Our cohort pair today, our dynamic duo, is our sixth grade math science team, Ms. Dreger and Ms. Staker, and they will check in and tell you what's happening with their cohort and talk about some of those exciting things that are going on. So we're excited for that. We're excited to hear from them. We'll talk a little bit about enrollment and future morning coffee dates and any questions and things that parents want to talk about. So that's sort of what's on the docket today. Let's see. Upcoming coffee dates. Next week on morning coffee, we have our 8th grade team. And our 8th grade team is actually here with us today. Miss Goodman and Miss Smith will be our featured guests for the 8th grade cohorts to talk about what's happening in 8th grade. I'm excited to hear more about our project-based learning efforts with 8th grade. They are doing something called the Fire Project. They're doing a project around fire, which is really exciting and really informative. I'm excited to hear more about that and all the great things that are happening in 8th grade next week. The following week, remember, we have an author named Tamara Letter, who is really inspiring. She really inspired Mrs. Beyondich and I when we read her book called A Passion for Kindness. And we actually got some copies today of A Passion for Kindness. Mrs. Beyondich said those have arrived. So we're planning on doing a giveaway and giving away a copy or so of Passion for Kindness when we do the visit with Tamara Letter. But Tamara Letter is really, she's super inspiring. You're really going to enjoy coffee in 2 weeks if you're able to join. She talks all about kindness, and she's an educator, teacher, an instructional coach, and so a lot of it is really applicable for us in terms of like how to implement kindness in schools. She talks about kindness clubs and leading students on acts of kindness and spreading kindness and making the world a better place. So it's pretty cool. So join us for those upcoming coffee dates for sure. Those are sort of the things that are coming up. APC meeting tonight, and we'll talk about APC, morning coffee dates that are coming up. But I want to turn it over now to our 6th grade math science cohort team, Ms. Staker and Ms. Dreger. Good morning, Ms. Staker. Good morning, Ms. Dreger. How are you? What's happening in 6th grade math science teams?
All right. Well, I am Miss Dreger. I am the science teacher at 6th grade science teacher at Stream Academy. And we are doing great. I feel like our groups are really bonding, which was the goal for week 1 and 2. And It's really exciting. I didn't know if I could get to know kids over Zoom, and I am, and it's amazing, and it's exciting to see them every day and their faces and telling us about their day, and I'm excited that this is working, at least in our group here. So I just wanted to cover a few things that we're doing in math and science. This is applicable to both um, math and science. We work very closely together. We plan our projects together. We make sure that if she's having a test one day, I'm not doing a test that same day. So we're really coordinating to make sure that students have an easy time navigating between the two of us. So yep, math and science. So I would say the three most important things for parents to know when sending their kids to their Zoom on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is class attendance. Um, Being at every Zoom is super important. We are fitting a semester's worth of material in one quarter. So them missing one Zoom is literally missing almost a week of class. Um, it's super easy to get behind. These first 2 weeks, we've really built in grace and a lot of leeway. But going into this week and next week, we're really going to be hitting the ground running. We have a lot of projects, team projects, where they're going to need their team members. They can do the project on their own. However, it is going to be vital for that connection, for that teamwork, for the feeling connected to the school, to their classmates, to the material, if they're with their team working during those Zoom meetings. The second thing is it has to do with attendance as well, is be on time. Be on time. We cover most of the material within the first 20 minutes. We don't want to be in front of the class um, just talking at them for an hour, right? How lame is that? So we've really built in this time where we talk in kind of the beginning. So being on time is very crucial. We let them work in their groups, or we let them work on their assignment, and then we come back, we revise, we share out. Um, but being on time is where the instruction is happening, right? We give them our directions. So being a half hour late, right? Oh, it's just Zoom. That's not how we are approaching our classes at all. We are literally taking every minute and squeezing as much as we can out of them. And then third thing for parents to focus on is limiting distractions. So we're only on Zoom for 1 hour per class per day, and limiting those. You get the sibling coming over and tossing the hair, and then you got the kind of playing happening, and that's where parents, I think, could really shine, where they're like, okay guys, it's Zoom time, it's focus time, we're getting into it, and just limiting the distractions as much as possible, right? And we understand, right? We're letting people, we're we're definitely um, accepting and understanding of, we're at home where things have to happen, so we're also understanding on that. Other parent tools, so those were things geared towards, right, the student work day. Things for parents to kind of clue into is that there's a thing called Canvas, and this is where all your students' assignments are pretty much happening, especially in science. Last year, your kids might have shared Google Docs with their teachers. However, I have 60 kids, and if they all share something with me every day, right, that's at least 300 emails a day, and that's not going to work. So we have this platform called Canvas. Their assignments are in Canvas, so the worksheets, the directions, the videos, the resources, right, they're all in one place. And this is also where they turn in their work. Now, there is this amazing parent tool called Parent Observer. So this is something where you can actually be like a shadow on your student account, and you can see their assignments. You can see their feedback on those assignments, and kind of that kind of tool. So you can kind of like be a shadow and like, okay, I see that Miss Drager posted that you had an assignment last week. I see that you are past your due date. What's going on, right? Kind of that shadow in the room. And then there's this thing called Q. Q Student Connect and Q Parent Connect. This is the grade book. There's nothing the students can do in this. This is just a platform where teachers input grades. And I'm not sure, I hadn't planned on going over mastery grading, Mr. McKelkey. I'm not sure if, okay, awesome. So there's a Student Connect where students can take the initiative, and I've taught all of them and I've given them all their passwords, and they should be able to get on all by themselves, and they can check their grades for math, science, and science projects. And then Q Parent Connect is where parents can go in, and this one I can get all the students' information, parent information. I'm unsure of where you get your passwords. I'm not sure if Sylvia knows. Okay, oh, you just get it from Sylvia because she's amazing. And how in the world do we work without Sylvia? Okay, and then just as a reminder, we meet on Zooms Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Here is the schedule for our 6th grade cohort. Period 1 is at 8:30, period 2 is at 10:30, and period 3 is at 12:30. Okay, how much time do I have left, Mr. McKelkey? I have a few more things to cover.
You're doing just fine. Keep going.
Okay, sorry. I know, and I'm obviously like taking up all of.
No. You're the main show today.
Okay, cool. So science. What are we doing in science? Let's see here. I could actually unshare my screen here. Okay, now we can all see each other. So what are we doing in science? So in the beginning of science, we go over, right, the nature of science, what the science procedures and scientific method, right? And so we're just getting down with that, right? We're just getting done with that. So we are now proceeding into our project. So this week we have 2 more days of background information that we're just gonna kind of familiarize ourselves with. And it has to do with ecosystems and how they're set up, and the cascading effects of changing the ecosystem, changing the environment, and the effect it has on animals and living things. And then, so that's the next 2 days. And then we're gonna have about 2-week project where students are gonna be doing most of the investigating and the research, and they're gonna be working in teams, and it's called, so I'm using this resource called Argument-Driven Inquiry, which is super exciting, and I'm so excited for your kids to be part of it because it really dives deep into providing evidence for their reasoning. So I give them an article and we read it together and we go through it. We read it probably a total of 2-3 times. And in a team, they work together to create a project. And because we're on Zoom, we're going to be doing virtual projects. In class, when we go back, they'll be doing physical projects, so I'll actually give them the physical materials to do it. And then they work together to draw conclusions and then propose a solution. And then at the end, they do this amazing thing where they do these blind peer reviews where they're in a team, so right, more teamwork, and they get someone else's research report, and they go through and they ask questions, they understand things, they underline things that they might not know, they will ask questions in the side. And the cool thing is the twist on this is, 1, it's anonymous, 2, they're doing this peer review in a pairing setting, which is actually pretty different than what traditional, like when you peer review, usually it's one-on-one, right? You get your own paper, you're by yourself, but like this pairing really scaffolds how to peer review something. And I'm really excited about this. I don't know if you can tell, but it's and if you were like, oh my gosh, my kid can't do that, don't you worry. We are going, obviously I speak slower when I'm with kids. And we are going to be going step by step. They will be learning the process. I will literally break down how to write a argument driven sentence where you don't just have a simple sentence, right? You are going to be compounding this sentence from, um, right, piece of evidence because, or no, statement because, so, but, right? So they were really going to be connecting these concepts together and really, and I love this method because it really dives into critical thinking, but being able to write this critical thinking on paper, making it real, being able to explain it, being able to present it. And there's so many different skills that they're going to be able to acquire going through this process. So online, I've never done this online. So I'm thinking it's going to take 2 weeks. If it takes 3 weeks and they're developing these skills, then that's what it's going to be. So it's going to be really important that your kids are on Zoom working in their team. It's going to be really hard if they miss. I mean, they can obviously watch the video lesson and they could do it on their own, but it's so much more fun doing it together. And I really want to encourage you guys to make sure to get your kids on Zoom at the right time, and don't let them log off. If they say, oh, Miss Drager let me go early, that will never happen. Miss Drager will never let them go early. Maybe 5 minutes max 5 minutes. So math might be a little different because, right, there's different scaffolds in math, and I could see that being a little different. Okay, I've been talking for a while. And Nicole, would you like to talk about math just for a second, and then I'll talk about third period?
Yeah, I was just going to see if anyone had questions specific to anything
Oh.
that you shared before I start talking a little bit about math.
So you can pop questions in the chat and we'll read them, or use your little hand raise feature. Or if you want to be old fashioned, you can just put your hand up and wave at us and we'll call on you. I love the scientific inquiry driven process, Ms. Drager. I think it's great to get our 6th grade brains thinking like scientists and looking at the world through that lens. I'm glad you're doing that. All right, I don't see any questions popping up yet, and we'll give more time here in a minute too if people have questions for the 6th grade team. Ms. Staker, go ahead.
Okay, so hi, I'm Mrs. Staker. I'm the other half of cohort AB. So I teach math. We're predominantly using the 6th grade Go math book. However, depending on student levels, I've been looking at iReady data as well as Alex knowledge checks. So if your student is in cohort A or B, they've all completed their knowledge check, which is awesome because we've been really making sure that I've been going and checking on my end, like where students are at and how much time they're spending on Alex. We use Alex because what it does is give students an initial knowledge check, and then based on that, it'll tell me and it'll tell the student as well, kind of where their holes are, where their strengths are, and it'll continue building on those strengths as well as fill in some of the holes. So, I mean, as much as the kids are coming and, all getting a lesson on a 6th grade skill, they can also go and review something that maybe they're confused on. And they can also kind of jump ahead as well. We do have a handful of kids that are working already on pre-algebra, and what Alex does is it gives you a percent of how much content your child has already mastered in that math class. So some kids, for example, they're already 50% through math 6 concepts. And so it's like, okay, well, this kid really, can kind of be working at their own level, it's great for them to still come to the Zooms, obviously be a part of a class lesson, be in class discussions and breakout rooms. However, I don't want to hold them back is the other thing. They're kind of like, we all know when something's too easy and you're not engaged, it's easy to kind of like find other things that are more engaging. So as well as the flip side, I've had parents contacting me and saying like, well, my iReady says my kids at grade 3, what should I be doing at grade 4? And so we definitely understand that last quarter was a little bit of, a shuffle for teachers, parents, students. It was a little crazy. So if you feel like, if you feel concerned that your child is struggling with math, either because they struggled in the past with math, or they haven't practiced math in a while, and maybe they're not in my cohort this quarter, maybe I won't have them until next quarter, we can definitely talk about resources. I've gotten all of the sixth graders in cohort C and D all of their ALEX information, and I also went and introduced myself to them. So I was like, hi, I'm Miss Dager. I'll meet you next quarter. Yay. And I had a picture of me and Mrs. Drager. So, they've at least seen our faces and they know that, we're cool. So I went and made sure that all the kids had their passwords. I had everybody log in. And then I could see on my end, of course, it shows a little green dot when they're logged in. And so, I had a bunch of green dots and I'm like, okay, everybody at least has their username, has their password. They know how to get in. Hopefully they wrote it down in a special safe place, and then they can go on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are e-learning days. So our requirements for sixth graders are 45 minutes on iReady for reading. And that will assist with some of those language arts holes, just because, if they're not in reading this quarter, same thing, right? You're like, my kid's going to get behind. And then we want them to also go on ALEX for 30 minutes, which is number 2 there. And you'll see the initial knowledge check is due Friday. If your child is in cohort A or B with math or science, they're done with that. And then, of course, we want kids to be reading a book of their choice, spending some time outdoors. That can be, walking the dog or doing some household chores, and then doing one nice thing for someone. So,
Yes, acts of kindness.
So as far as math being online, and I would piggyback on what Ms. Drager said, I never thought that I would, be able to meet someone online and like know them and have a connection with them. But by now, I see their little faces, every morning. And so they're definitely getting to know each other. And then even the kids who are shy, right? Because for some kids, they're like, this is the weirdest thing ever. And I've said that, right? I'm like, this is like, we're online school. I never thought when I started teaching 13 years ago that this day would ever come. So it's definitely, for the kids that are a little anxious about it or nervous, they're definitely coming out of their shells. We encourage a lot of participation, even if they just want to like talk in the chat box, or we do encourage obviously video on, just so that we know that they're engaged. And then it's nice because when they go into the chat rooms is when we see a lot of them come out of their shell a little bit. They don't want to ask questions, just like, a lot of adults. If you don't want to ask a question out to the group, you just chat it in the box. Or if you go in a breakout room, it's a little bit easier to say, I didn't know this word that he was talking about. Does somebody else know? And then someone else is like, oh yeah, I didn't know either, So sometimes that can be a little bit scary. And I see some questions in the chat. Thank you. We'll make sure we get to those. So for math, specifically for math 6, we're starting with some decimal computation, which I thought would be good because it's something that the kids, hopefully have done and have seen over the past few years, decimals, and then obviously computing with them, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. They did really well on least common multiple, which we just did the other day. So that was, a lot of them felt really good after that lesson, because we did our mini lesson, they did their assignment in groups, and then they were all able to submit their work through a Google form, which is posted in Canvas. And so that's kind of how I'm managing assignments, just so that, they don't have to send me a picture or something like that. And that could change. I found a system that's working for us for now, but everything's kind of up in the air as we get more information and more resources. So for now, that'll be kind of how we're working things in math. And then let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, we want that list to parents about Wednesdays, what kids can be doing on Wednesdays, Mr. McKelkey. That was a question.
Was that for cohort all of them or just ours? Because I can only email mine.
I can put it in my next, it was in the parent update that we posted, and I'll put it in the next one as well, that e-learning schedule of tasks we want everybody to be doing on Wednesdays. There's also a question before that, Ms. Staker, can parents see the breakdown of skills from iReady and the ALEX assessments? And the answer is yes, you can see the breakdown of skills from both of those. I love how ALEX does it. ALEX, Ms. Staker can help you to, on how you access that. ALEX has a pie chart, and each of the math standards, like the 6th grade math standards, is a section of that pie chart. And then it fills the pie chart depending on how much they've done. So if you have one section of the pie that's all the way full or most of the way full, that means they've mastered almost all the content on that standard. And then if you have other sections of that pie that are just a little bit, that means they've just started to make a little bit of progress on those standards. And then when they finish all of the sections of the pie, when they're all filled up, that means they've finished that level of math. Ms. Staker, you want to add anything about that, or talk about how parents can look at the iReady skills results?
So with the iReady, yes, they are done with their math and reading iReady assessments. That's the diagnostic where they take the class. And I believe we have, if parents want the scores for their iReady for their kid, they need to be emailed. I believe that's how it is, because I was on a student account and I was trying to figure out if the kids could see their own results, and it doesn't look like that's part of it. So I need to figure out how to email all the results to parents. So.
Oh, and we did have a question about, yes, for cohorts A and B. I can't speak to the other cohorts because I'm not sure what their schedule and progress is like exactly. But yes, all of our students in cohorts A and B are done with iReady for reading and math. And we were very excited about that because we finished and then we kind of looked around and, it was like all the other cohorts are still working and chugging along. And so we were like, yes, we can get started on learning stuff because, obviously that took a little bit longer than expected. We allotted a class period and then it ended up taking 2 periods. But yes, to answer your question, we are done with those.
So everyone at Stream, all of our students should be doing math, especially on Wednesdays. If your child's not scheduled in math first quarter, I love that what Ms. Staker was explaining to you earlier, I want to reiterate a little bit. She went on as a guest with the 2 cohorts that are doing language arts and social studies this quarter. So she went on and introduced herself and Ms. Dreger and said, hey, we're going to be your teachers in the second quarter. And here is your ALEX login information. And so she got all of those students in 6th grade that are doing social studies and language arts this quarter. She got all of them started with their ALEX accounts so that they can work through their math class at their own rate and at their own pace. The great thing about ALEX is it is self-paced and it is a robust math curriculum, so they can accelerate. Any student can choose to accelerate in maths, and as soon as they're done with 6th grade math, whether that's in November or in February, Ms. Staker will move them right into pre-algebra. We don't have to wait till next year to move these guys into pre-algebra. And that's one of the things that I always get most excited about. One of my favorite emails to send is to 6th grade parents saying, hey, Ms. Staker has shown me that your child is ready for pre-algebra. So here are the steps for moving them into pre-algebra. As far as iReady, if students are at grade level or they're in advanced math, they're not going to need to work in iReady. Its primary purpose and I'm talking about in math, its primary purpose is to help fill gaps and catch up and build those skills that students might have lagged a little bit on with the sort of the layoff we've had and the changes in learning that we had from last spring. So if you have a sixth grader in pre-algebra, the iReady is not going to be necessary for them. They're going to want to focus on Alex. If they do have some gaps or need to fill some skills, especially if they don't have math this quarter, some time on iReady will be great. So two totally different programs. iReady is for filling gaps and building skills and maybe intervention or support. And Alex is grade level or advanced, working through the math, for this grade or for higher levels.
And I just wanted to make a note, because we are the math science cohort. We also have another math teacher on our cohort, that her name's Miss Kracia. So some of your kids might have Miss Kracia for math. So not all of
Thank
this.
you.
Yeah. And they are working on iReady and not Alex.
And I can piggyback on that as well, because Ms. Creation and I have worked a lot together in the past as well. And so what I do, the same as was on the parent letter, when you got the parent letter at the beginning of the year, it kind of showed some content that we're going to be covering for quarter one. And she's doing a parallel version of that, specific to, IEPs and skills that the kids need. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that she is doing, similar, we're doing the same content. She's just doing some modifications as needed. And so her and I share a lot of the same documents and content and materials. And she's not here, but if you have questions, I can certainly pass them on if they're math specific questions.
Ms. Staker and Ms. Drager, you guys are amazing. We are so lucky to have you teaching our sixth graders. Our sixth graders are so lucky to have teachers of your caliber. I want to share with all of our parents and our audience that I talked with one of our consultant that we work really closely with yesterday. Ms. Gatlin and I had a conference call with Dr. Sturm from the UMI project, and she asked, "Are you guys in survival mode?" Because right now, when educators talk and they talk to consultants and they talk to one another, they talk about being in survival mode because this is so new and so different and has been so difficult. Teachers have had to learn and do so much so fast. And it was so nice for me to smile and say, no, we're not. Individually, including myself, some of us are, depending on the day, some of us get overwhelmed, and this is so, but overall as a school, I know many schools and many people are in survival mode, and we're not, honestly. We're in fully functioning, full steam ahead mode. And that's because of teachers like Ms. Staker and Ms. Drager, who instead of going, oh my gosh, this is all too new and there's too much and I can't, and it's so hard, and throwing up hands or complaining or being stuck, our teachers just from day one have gone, what do we do next? What are we doing? Okay, got it. And they have went and figured it out and built it. And we're not building the plane while we're flying it. They built the plane before school started. They built a plane that should have taken 3 years to build in about 2 weeks. And our staff are rocking it. So I just want to reiterate how lucky we are at Stream Academy to have teachers of this caliber. And I can't say enough how hard these guys worked. I mean, I think everyone in our school is working as hard as they've ever worked in their lives. And it's because everyone loves what we're doing and they're dedicated to making this work for kids. So thank you, teachers, so much. I appreciate you guys. Ms. Staker and Ms. Drager, thank you. You're awesome. Okay. Unless there are any other questions for Ms. Staker and Ms. Drager, we'll hop along and check in on a few other things. You can always email them, of course. You can always go to the Canvas pages, go to the website, and stay in touch that way. The next thing I had to touch base on real quick with folks is enrollment. Ms. Bionich, will you put that slide up for me? So I sent something out last week. Again, just that to kind of connect to that idea that we're not in survival mode. Our enrollment is hugely important to schools because you're funded based on your enrollment, right? And across the school district, I know you're hearing a lot of concerns about enrollment, and I want you to know that that's not us. I projected us and I built our budget around having 150 students, and right now we're at 160 students. So we're actually doing just fine. And I think it's a reflection of what we just talked about. It's a reflection of the hard work of our teachers, and that our parents know that they're in good hands. With that being said, of course, we want to enroll as many students as we have room to serve. We don't have any room in 8th grade. That's really full. We do have the capacity to take some 6th and 7th grade students, and so our enrollment is good. It's strong. This isn't oh no, we're under enrolled type of a push. This is we have seats and we can serve a few more kids. So if you know of any 6th, 7th graders out there that would be a good fit for STREAM, hands-on and dynamic classes, great teachers, that could really benefit from what we're doing right now, and are interested in STREAM, send them our way. We have a few seats in 6th and 7th grade. Those cohorts are around 15 students per group, which is a really good number. And so if we took 4 more 6th graders, our cohorts would only be at 16 or 17. So we're not, we have room that way. So yeah, feel free to share this and send students our way. And this time every year through September and October, we do a little incentive. If we enroll a student before October 16th who is referred by you, we have a STREAM hoodie for you. So either for you, or if it's your child and you'd rather they get that and they recommended a friend or a family member, enroll a student, recommend a student, and they enroll and you get a STREAM hoodie. So we always like giving out those hoodies this time of year. Let's see, Mrs. Smith is with us, I think. Mrs. Smith, I don't.
Present.
Hi, Ms. Smith. Do you want to say anything about Canvas? Just a quick word of, any tips or anything parents should hear about Canvas this week?
Well, Ms. Drager did a wonderful job explaining Canvas Parent Observer. If you're not on as a parent observer yet, you can contact us if you need help. It's on the ASD website. That's the #1 magic tool that you can use. And there's a sweet app that you can download on your phone or iPad and interact with Canvas in a very easy fashion, very fast and easy, efficient. Parents should know that there has been some delays between Canvas and our gradebook that Ms. Drager mentioned, called Q Student Connect, also called Parent Connect, used to be called Zangle. There were some delays. The two programs, Canvas where the kids do the work and Q where the grades go, they talk to each other and the grades transfer over, but there was some delays and issues that we're working through. So if you don't see a lot of grades in Q, or they change, it's no worries. We're just working through those issues and how we put assignments in Canvas so that they speedily transfer over. And when we do the due dates, resubmissions for a student, if they modify an assignment or resubmit it or try again, which we want them to do and we encourage trying again, will affect the transfer. So a good baseline if you're looking for updated grades in Q is 3 days. So if an assignment for your student was due if it was due on Tuesday, you shouldn't expect to see it totally finished, finalized in Q until like Friday, for example. Okay, I think that's the 2 major things.
Awesome, thank you, Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Biana, will you put up the APC slide for us? So I want to take a minute to talk about our APC. The APC stands for Academic Policy Committee, and that is our ASD's language for the school boards that oversee charter schools. So each charter school has their own board, which oversees the program and meets once a month. Our APC meets once a month, the second Wednesday of every month at 5:30 p.m. So that is viewable on the same YouTube channel as this. So if you just went to my YouTube channel, that we also broadcast the APC meetings. We do them on Zoom, but for a little more tightness of the meeting, Because it would be really hard to regulate who hopped on and all of that. The Zoom is for piece is mostly staff and members or guest speakers, and then parents view on the YouTube channel. So we do have actually, this is unusual for us, just a combination of circumstances with folks moving on from the board and previous vacant positions. We do have 6 available seats. We have 6 opportunities, 6 seats open for parents and community members. 3 of those are parent guardian seats. So you have to be a current parent guardian to fill one of those seats. And then 3 of those are non-faculty, non-parent, and community member seats. So if you are interested in filling a seat on the APC, interested persons would contact Mrs. Beyondich and come to the APC meeting tonight and express that interest, and then we'll get you on the October ballot. I still actually don't know how I'm going to do the election this year, because the way we've always done APC elections is when you come in for parent-teacher conferences, because voters, people who vote on APC seats are current parents and guardians and staff, I believe, right, Ms. Beyondich? So you have to be currently involved in the school to vote, and we've handed ballots out at parent-teacher conferences in the past. I think we also have, we've also never in the history of the school had 2 people run for a seat. every time every seat we've filled has been unopposed. Somebody volunteers to run for the seat, and so it's been pretty simple. But who knows, that could change. So I'm working on and talking to other charter schools on how to do an online voting. And one idea that we had is just to use the Google surveys that like we send out to parents, because you can click on, you can require an email address for those surveys if you want. And so what we can do is do it as a Google survey and require your email address. Then we could just go in through Q and verify that email address as a current parent or guardian. So we're working on how we'll do the election. I'm not totally sure how to do a fully virtual election yet. So yeah, APC, our chair of our APC, Mrs. Yip, is with us, and I don't need to put her on the spot, but Ms. Yip, if you wanted to jump in and say anything about APC, you're welcome to.
Oh, thanks.
Good morning, Ms. Yip.
Good morning. It's a good group of people. It's wonderful that so many people are interested, and thank you for taking that time, because it's a valuable asset to help the school feel supported and for it to work smoothly. So if you can participate in a seat, come on down. Right now it's easy. You don't have to drive anywhere. It's just on Zoom.
Yeah, I love the Zoom feature for sure.
Back to you.
Thank you. Remember, we have a few coffee mugs left. These are limited edition. We'll never produce the same coffee mug again. So you'll be one of the people, the only people in the world with these mugs. Mrs. Beyondich has them available. She mails them out to people who would like them. They are $20, correct, Mrs. Beyondich?
Yeah, we only have a few left. They are $20, and they are limited edition. I have a couple on reserve for people sitting here in the office, for people who have expressed an interest. So I won't give your mugs away. If you said, Sylvia, save me a mug, I have your mug. But I do have a few more that we can sell. If you're interested, I can deliver it to your house. You can come and swing by and pick it up, whatever you need to do.
Yeah, you have to get your Stream Academy mug. That's a must. Oh, the gear store is open. Do we have a slide for the Stream Gear store? I think it was way back. So we work with Dooley's, and they put up a link for us for the Stream Gear store. And I bet Mrs. Bionich is working on copying that into the chat right now. So this is actually the hoodie from Dooley's last year. And I think the same ones are available, and they're super nice hoodies. I love mine. So they're comfy and good quality, because I've had this one for a year and it's still serving me well. So you can get all kinds of Stream Gear from the Stream Gear store at Dooley's. And of course, kids want something that says Stream on it. So yeah, go to the gear store and get your Stream Gear that way. What else do we have to touch base on, Mrs. Beyondich? Miss Bonerts, do you have anything that you want to share with folks?
The students for my Canvas counseling services page, the assignment in there has closed, which is okay. But please encourage your students, if there's anything they want to talk to me about, they can click on my calendar in my virtual office, and there's directions on there on how to make an appointment. And then one other thing, and I mentioned this last week, but this week and actually tomorrow is National Suicide Prevention Awareness. And so on my website, I do have some resources on there if you'd like to educate yourself or your students. But I just really encourage, parents to talk to their kids about the dangers of depression and talk about suicide and talk about, talk to me or talk to your counselor or talk to a friend, or if you hear something that your friend says, tell an adult. So just really encourage that for students, because life is already hard and right now it's a little extra hard. So just keep that on your radar.
Yeah, definitely. Suicide Prevention Month is I think is something really important. There's so much stigma around even the topic of suicide. I know it took me a long time to get comfortable talking about it. As an educator, as parents, it can be really difficult to talk about. My suggestion is just be really frank about it. Just be really straightforward, use straightforward language, and treat it like you would treat having a talk about, the biology talk that we have to have as parents, where the best thing to do is just to talk about facts and really be straightforward and not sugarcoat or, try to use any coded language. The thing to ask directly, which is hard if you're worried that a young person or that someone you love or someone is thinking about suicide, is to ask directly. And I think a lot of times, like with death, we're scared to use those direct languages. So my encouragement to you was to use direct language and say, are you thinking about hurting yourself? Have you thought about killing yourself? And just be straightforward with it, and then get help. Like there's nothing at all. There should be no hesitation to call in to get help. And, if you don't know what to do and you don't know who to call, you can always just call, 911. I've had parents call my cell number at 9:00 on Saturday night because they didn't know what to do. And that either their child was talking, a lot of times it's not directly their child, it's their child is talking to a friend, and their friend said this, and they came and showed me, like they said they're thinking about killing themselves, or they don't want to be in this world anymore. And that's okay. Like if I'm the person you have to call, or, whatever you have to do, we'll help you get that figured out and support kids, support people. So I know it's a topic that people don't like to talk about, but I think it's good to talk about it, to be straightforward and frank and just say it's out there. Let's address it directly. Let's not be afraid of the topic, and you never know who you might help. Then the other piece I would plug when it comes to this topic is, honestly, it goes back to the kindness piece. Just that, encourage kids to do that one small act of kindness a day, because you never know who's going to need that and whose life you might touch in a way that helps. So, you always hear the stories about people who are in that dark place, and one person's act of kindness changed their life or turned it around. One teacher or one adult or friend who was there and reached out when they really needed it the most. So that's why it's another good reason to always practice those acts of kindness and reaching out to others and just doing good things for others, because you never know when somebody's really going to need that. So I see Miss Bonerts is putting information in the chat which is helpful. Do you have the suicide hotline number that students can call that we can put in there? That's one of my favorite ones to share. So if you have any questions about this topic at all, or any follow-up or really anything, reach out to Ms. Bonertz, give her a call, reach out to me, and I can help you out, and I will connect with Ms. Bonertz right away. So we're here to help. Okay, thank you, Ms. Bonertz, for putting those in the chat. What else did we want to touch base on today? It is 8:51, so we're sort of winding down to the end. I do want to keep our finger on the pulse of Wednesdays. Wednesday is a school day for students. They have plenty of work to do. Students should be working in iReady, and all of our students should be working on math and keeping up with math, and that it's so important that they keep moving forward with math. We're in our 4th week already of school, and so students have assignments, they have projects. Ms. Staker and Ms. Drager did a great job of explaining the projects they're doing, and that Ms. Drager was saying they're not meant to be done in isolation, they should be done in partnership. One of the big reasons we do project-based learning is because sometimes traditional school learning is very compartmentalized. It's one thing, one subject, and you do it yourself. And that's not how the world works. That's not how most of our working lives work. We don't do things in isolation. We work on projects. We work on teams. We work in conjunction with others. And so, that's project-based learning really mirrors how real world learning and work is done. So students should be collaborating. They should be working together on their projects. Your students always have work to do on Wednesdays. They should never tell you I don't have work to do on Wednesdays. They can be on iReady. They could be on Alex. They should be on iReady. They should be on Alex. They should always be reading. We should all always be reading a book. We should all have a book that we're into that we can pick up and read. And of course, we want students to get outside. I love for them to plan that as part of their day. That's another one of our summer reads Ms. Beyondich is holding up. And I read that this summer, Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria? It was a great book, a great read. I really wanted to immerse myself this summer with a lot of the issues going on in our country around issues around race and the things that have sort of always been in the background of our country and periodically simmer to the top or bubble up to the top. It definitely has again this year. And so I wanted to make sure I immersed myself in race issues and understanding what diverse students in our school deal with and their backgrounds and where they're coming from. And that book was super helpful for me this summer, super helpful to change my lens, make sure that I can see through, see the other, the different perspectives other than mine. So yeah, be reading, definitely. And then outdoors, students should be outdoors. So Wednesday should be a busy day. Wednesday's a busy day for us. I go right from this meeting into our staff meeting, and I go right into some district meetings. We have a grade level assembly today for 6th grade. It's a packed day. Today is a packed, busy day for staff, and I hope that students are engaged and working as well. Join the Remind group. If you have your cell phone handy, take your cell phone out, and in the to line, where you type in somebody's number, in the new message line right there, you type in 81010, just like you'd put in a phone number. And then in the text line where you'd text like, man, I'm on morning coffee and the principal is so awesome, where you would write something like that. Just type @ASA 2021 and you will be automatically added to that Remind group and get little updates and reminders from the school. All right, what else, Mrs. Beyondich?
Last year during one of our student showcases, we had the kind, be the I in kind. And so I added that picture here because kindness is so important. I added one of the pictures of one of our students. I had permission to share this picture.
Thanks.
And so I added it to our, we are the I in kind, Mr. McKelkey.
Yes. I encourage everybody to read Passion for Kindness, one of our books that we read this summer, and in 2 weeks to join us, even if you don't read the book. Tamara Letter is so awesome. She's so inspiring. If you're a Twitter person, if you love Twitter like I do, I find it to be the most practical and useful and useful social media platform, as Twitter is essentially a giant news feed. And so what you get is what you follow. So for me, I follow a ton of things educational related, right? Authors and speakers and principals and superintendents and teachers and a lot of like national and really well-known educational people in the education field. And so I have this sort of this constant stream of conversations and interactions and resources that are related to education. I love that about it. I'm also a huge Chicago Bears fan, so I follow a lot of Chicago Bears stuff too. But I love Twitter that way because it's a giant news feed of the things that you're interested in and the things that you want to engage in. So if you're on Twitter, follow Tamara Letter at A Passion for Kindness. But yeah, you'll love Tamara Letter. She's super awesome. She's super inspiring. What else? Anything else? Any questions? Did we get everything in the chat, Mrs. Bionich? Is there anything else we need to check in on today?
I think we got everything in the chat. What I would like to point out is that, as I always like to point out, our website is always evolving. Every time you access our website at Stream Academy, we encourage you to refresh your screen so your browser doesn't remember the last thing. Yeah. Refresh your screen when you go in. We've added some new channels to the top of our website to include our book study books. We have 3 book study books this year that the principal has encouraged us to all read. So those are all linked to our website. I will go ahead and add an e-learning tab on our website as well so that you can access e-learning information for whatever cohort your student is in. And I'll work on that today and tomorrow, and I'll get that up. Wednesdays are learning days. They are not off days for students. And that's one of the hardest things we're having to communicate with our students is just because you're not in synchronous learning doesn't mean you're not in school. So we'll get those tabs up for you on the website as an additional resource for families to say, hey, your principal told me that if I go to the website, I can find what you're supposed to be doing. And that'll be there for you.
Awesome. So the 3 books Ms. Bionich and I read together that we are encouraging others to read with us and join in discussions with us. The Passion for Kindness by Tamara Letter. The one Mrs. Bionich just shared, Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria, which was super insightful. And then what was the third one, Mrs. Bionich?
Dare to Inspire by Allison Holzer.
We actually had Allison Holzer on as a guest speaker in the spring. We read this together last spring. Dare to Inspire. I have copies of this in my office to lend out. So if anyone wants to learn more about inspiration, and Allison Holzer is also on Twitter. She's a good follow, talks about inspiration, inspiring things. So those 2 things together sort of formed my focus words for this year. My focus this year on kindness and inspiration are my focus words, my magic words, however you want to say that. Those are my grounding words for this school year, kindness and inspiration. So those are the 3 books that we sort of read together and encouraging folks to read with us. I'm currently reading, and I think we should do a section in Morning Coffee, just what are you currently reading? Because I think it'd be cool, Ms. Bionich. I'm currently reading a book called How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. And just again, along those lines of as a principal and educator, trying to stay on top of the racial issues that are really prevalent right now, and kind of on the surface of things, and to make sure that I am as well prepared and equipped and and balanced as I possibly can be as a leader, so that I can serve all of our kids and all of our families. That's my current read. It's good. So yeah, read with us. All right, anything for the good of the order? Any questions, any comments, anything here to wrap us up?
Reminding parents that we're always available. Call us if you need us. Principal Kelke publishes his cell phone number for a reason. Feel free to call him at any time, call the school at any time, email us. And if you want my personal cell, I will be happy to give it to you as well.
Yeah.
Your success and your students' success is what makes my job so rewarding.
I've been doing this for 21 years and I have never, knock on wood, now watch, I'll curse myself. Just kidding. I have never gotten an inappropriate call from sharing my cell phone number with parents. Never gotten somebody that called me like to be angry or to yell at me about something or anything else that wouldn't be, just it's never happened. So sometimes people are like, why do you share your cell number with families? That's why, because I have gotten calls on a Saturday night that said, I don't know what to do because my child is talking to one of their friends and they're talking about suicide. I have gotten calls in the evening from a parent who's really upset or distraught and really needs help and support. And that needed to not wait until I was in the office on Monday morning. So there's a reason that I share that. It's because I am here to serve our school community in whatever way I can. All right, have a great Wednesday, everyone. Enjoy the 4th week of school already. All right, have a great day, everybody.